Welcome to the Dancing Oracle with Najia. We're doing a deep dive right now with tarot that I pulled earlier in part one. In part one, we found out our answers, some of the answers to the questions. Is the United States safe right now? What's going on in light of current events happening this week? It's been really, really, really crazy, heartbreaking, and disillusioned. And oh my God. So I gave the quick answer for those who like me to get to the point in part one. And for those of you who like me when I take my time and I do a really deep dive and I tune in psychically and I explain the meaning of the cards. A lot of you are tarot readers or, learning tarot, and I am a teacher. I'm a teacher of dance and art and many other things. I am not a teacher of tarot formally, but I love sharing my wisdom and knowledge here on YouTube. So here we go. All right. So I'm just going to show you the spread. I'm going to clean it up here. I'm going to clean it up so you can see it. All right. Now, I have a tiny little space here. So I'm fitting everything on my beautiful handmade tatting 100-year-old placemat. Beautiful, beautiful. But this is based on the Celtic cross. The meanings are. And this one is the significator card. It is facing me. And therefore, it's in reverse. Okay? So let me explain the upright meaning of the Seven of Cups so that you can understand the full picture going on here. So the Seven of Cups is a card where you have a lot of choices, right? Or you think you do. At the very least, you think you do. I'm going to get a little closer so you can hear me better because the heating is blowing on and it's very noisy. Okay. So this is like all these glittery things, and I wonder what's under those cups. Now, normally in the classic deck, we could see things, the cups are upright and they're like goblets, and there's necklaces and all kinds of riches and gold and things in there. And it's like, wow, everything's glittery, even though it's clouded, hidden by clouds and things, right? Kind of cloudy, right? Foggy and mysterious. Same thing in this card, except these look like Tibetan bowls, the kind that make beautiful vibrations, and you hit them with a little wooden stick and you make that sound, and you go around. The Tibetan bowls, they're really popular right now. People go to sound baths. So somebody in this deck, right? Because this is a different deck called the Light Seer Tarot. I love this deck. I wish I had illustrated it. Why didn't I get on this sooner? You know, illustrating a tarot deck, I would have done something like this. This is kind of my style. But anyway, we see these Tibetan bowls and we think there's like, oh, we're going to climb up the ladder of success, and, we're going to be powerful with a dragon. We see a dragon wing picking out. Um, we don't realize there's a snake hiding under there. So this is the issue with the Seven of Cups. Seven is a spiritual assessment number. It's when you are, sorry, I'm just trying to straighten up the area here. It's kind of crowded. So seven is a spiritual assessment, like where you're taking stock of things and you're seeing, how do I really feel about this? Is this serving me? And you want to, it may be like on the precipice of making a change. And these choices come about, these seven choices, and they get your heart stirred up because these are the cups. These are the cups. And you're thinking, wow, if I can align with this, I'm going to do well. right? This will fulfill my heart. I'll feel better. Who knows what's like door number one, door number two. It's like the game show where you win prizes. So what's happened is this is the issue, is people without clearly thinking, see the clouds? Without clearly thinking, a lot of people put their trust in something without seeing the full picture. All right. And realizing that there's like a snake under there, right? There's a dragon. God knows what other creepy things are under there, right? That it's going to come out. Like we're feeling all this creepiness, right? In the reverse position, this is all the negative energy. It's already not so great when it's upright because it's clouded judgment and it's saying, even though this looks so good, it's an illusion. But when it's in reverse, it's like, whoa, this is negative situation. And that's what we're experiencing. Things have been uncovered, and we're like, whoa, the dragon under there, a snake, God knows what. People are lying. They promise things, they're not fulfilling it. It's the opposite. They're putting our safety at risk. They're putting the lives of servicemen, hundreds, possibly 1,000 servicemen at risk in this particular issue. All right. And then what's happened in the obstacle position in my layout, in the normal Celtic cross, this would be like this. So this is the Six of Pentacles in reverse. This card is what's blocking the choice card, right? Of making a good choice from your heart. And you know what this represents? If you had to say one word, what word would this be? Tarot readers out there. Six of Pentacles in reverse. One word. I'll give you a pause to think about it for yourself. The word is greed. The word is greed. Number sixes are you supposed to be being responsible for taking care of something. That's what six represents, Six of Pentacles. You're supposed to be responsible, taking care of a money situation and being fair. This is the card of fairness in the upright position. But we got two counts of greed. We've got it in the obstacle, which makes it a negative. It's a reversal. It's also reversed because I read reversals. So it's doubly greedy, double greed. Corruption. This is corruption. Instead of doling out things to be fair, to equal to everyone, our country safety is at risk because of people's greed, greed, greed. So in the reverse position or in an obstacle, the six, which is the responsibility number, is not being handled properly. So it is everything blocking being responsible and fair. And the opposite of that is unfairness, greed. I want to take everything for myself and to hell with everybody else, right? So people's safety, jobs, other things, because if you do not listen, I know I have this issue that went on this week with the texting, with people violating the Espionage Act, people in the top tier positions violating the Espionage Act. But there's other things. I'm hearing it now for people. I'm hearing it on the inner. There are other things that make people feel unsafe. If you are worried about being homeless, you lost your job, you can't pay your bills, you can't feed your kids, you lose your health insurance, you have illnesses and you lost your health insurance suddenly, right? I know that's happened to some people in different states. And of course you don't feel safe anymore. You're like, what the hell's going on, right? What the hell is going on? And the thing is, conscious thoughts position. This is the conscious thoughts in the major arcana, right? So we have conscious and we have subconscious, all right? Usually this is on the high point of the Celtic cross. You'll see this on the top, and you'll see subconscious on the bottom, right? But I got a tiny little space, right? Conscious thoughts, this person is thinking, and this is probably why I got the hit that it's not just about like an attack from a foreign country, because I'm thinking we're feeling pretty vulnerable right now. But look at this. This person has been paying into something for a long time, right? They've been investing their money. Now, this could be the Social Security. Like people, um, I was hearing from one person, he's like, and he makes a good living, right? He's a famous person, sports guy, right? Hockey, Hawks guy. And he goes, I paid into that. I invested in that for 43 years. And they're trying to take it away from me. And he goes, other people, he goes, I deserve that money, you know? I invested. It's not a free ticket. He invested. If you don't, guess what? If you don't make enough or invest enough in that, you don't get anything. Like if you didn't make that much money in the course of your life, you don't get anything. You get nothing. People that have to meet the minimum requirements of investing in that program. It's like an insurance plan. And so this person, look how deep those roots are. I don't know if you hear that in the background, that urgent cry of moaning. I haven't had enough treats, Mom. Esmeralda's, she wants treats again. We have to wait till the end of the video. So look how deep these roots are and how little the plant is, teeny tiny. And this person is nurtured. They've worked hard. They've tilled that soil and they've put so much into this investment. And in some cases, like the offices are taken away, people are old. They're not well. It's a pain in the butt to get somewhere. Not everyone has a car or drives when they're older. They have to do public transportation. And then you have to show up at the Social Security office in person if you're not already on some kind of online payment and you're a person that's old fashioned and gets checks. Well, guess I heard they're cut off. That's what they're doing. So people are really feeling heartache in the environment. There's all this heartache. Three of Swords. Look at, just stabbed and piercing. Look, Three of Swords, either way, is rough card. That is just about as heartaching as it gets, right? And this is how a lot of people feel. They're just like, ah, I can't take it anymore. It takes so much to survive. It takes so much to keep my body alive, to keep my kids' body alive, my parents' body alive. Parents getting kicked out of the nursing home if they lose their Medicaid. And then what do people do with their parents? Like, I there are certain laws in place. You kind of have to quit your job, but you have no way to support yourself. Because I know when my mom was living here, I'll just tell you, I mean, we were able to sell her house to keep her in the nursing home a while. But before that, she stayed with me for a year and a half. I took good care of her. And then she wanted to go to her house. She thought I had too many rules. I had too many rules, you know. And she wanted some independence. So she went back home and then she got sick. And she ended up in the hospital. She wasn't taking her meds regularly. She had all kinds of issues. She wasn't eating right. Um, and then she ended up after the hospital in the nursing home. And then what happened was they wouldn't let her come back with me or even stay with any of the other siblings. So in order for her to come to live with me, I needed a handicap bathroom and handicap. And I needed a nurse here whenever I wasn't here. Now, luckily I work at home, right? But the issue was now at her house, at my mom's house, she had a handicap bathroom. Was installed for my dad because he went blind the last several years of his life. And my dad had already passed, and my mom was alone. Well, her house is handicap access, but none of the kids, none of us made enough money. We're just eking by, you know, eking by just to pay the bills. None of us could afford to hire a full-time nurse. And guess what? The state would cite us with elder abuse if we didn't keep her in the nursing home, right? So we had to sell her house quickly to pay for it for a couple of years until that money ran out, $11,000 a month for nursing care, right? I'm sure it's more now. And when that gave out, she went on Medicaid for all her everything to keep her in the nursing home and for her medical stuff as well. All the doctors and hospital all went to Medicaid instead of her private insurance. Now, if you get rid of Medicaid and you've got 80, 90-year-old parents who are blind, getting dialysis, who are having strokes, all kinds of stuff, who are incontinent. I'm a good daughter, right? You know, and yet you're not allowed to take care of them because it violates some law. And then you have to put your home up for sale just to pay to keep them in the nursing home, right? I was so grateful that Medicaid was there once the sale of her house ran out. Now think about that. I think that's like a big threat. People feel threatened. When that hits home, you feel threatened and you have to make decisions fast. So this is this heartache, right? But what's good is in the environment, whatever is piercing people's heart and breaking their heart, people are starting to let go of it in the reverse position. That means they're waking up. But it's there in the subconscious. Sorry, subconscious, not the environment. It's under the surface, about to brew and come up like they're ready to release these swords and daggers in the heart. Now I'm going to have another sip because I'm talking so much. I'm trying to get through this deep dive faster, but I have a lot to say, obviously. So the hierophant is in the recent past. Now, the hierophant in the traditional deck, you'll see, looks like a pope, and he's got his minions next to him, seated. Everything's all official and stern and structured and organized. So that represents, that structure you've built up over time that is trying to go for the good, at least in their mind. So it can represent government, it can represent the church. And in this card, it's more about like enlightenment, right? Trying to really see things for what they are. So every tarot deck has a different interpretation according to the artist, right? Because it will alter the meaning because the pictures are different. So you see, this one is a little bit about seeking power within the ascending of yourself. We're all becoming more aware of the term ascension, right? Everyone's talking about going from 3D to 5D or ascending. And so in the past, people really put their faith in the outer, like an outer structure built up, like a formula of government or church structure. And instead of like, and then you're just like, oh, okay, you know, it's kind of like when you go to a doctor and that doctor's diagnosis, if you're someone that doesn't seek multiple opinions, if they give you a prognosis and you just give all your faith to them, right? Rather than really connecting with that higher spirit, going within, like this man is meditating and he's ascending up, right? Like, I'll give you an example in my own, my mom's life. I just talked about my mom. So my mom, about 40 years ago, She passed away a few years ago, but 40 years ago, she was given a diagnosis from one doctor, right? Who told her that she had 2 months to live without surgery and 6 months to live. If she had surgery, she could prolong her life 4 more months. And he said, there's no recovery. No one survives this form of cancer, right? No one. And she was devastated because she was the kind of person that always put her faith in doctors, right? And but she didn't want to leave my dad alone. She did not want to leave my dad alone. She was really worried about him. He was such a sweet soul and he's handsome. And just in those couple weeks when people found out she was dying, oh my God, the women came out in droves. My dad would go out shopping for the food. I go out with him, help him out. And oh my God, they were like fawning over him and he's about to cry. They're like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're not, how's she doing? But they were like flirting with him. It was really weird. I told my mom and I'm like, Mom, it's really weird. It's acting like they got you dead already in their mind. I'll tell you, my mom, she turned around and she's like, I don't care what that doctor said. I'm not going to leave your father to the wolves. I'm going to live. So my mom at that moment, I think a miracle happened at that moment, right? By the way, I don't want to tell you, she did get two other opinions from two other hospitals. They all said she only had 2 to 6 months to live. Sorry. Okay. But then there was a fourth opinion. Okay. All right. But hold on. Hold on. I know it's a long story, but we got the video in two parts. Short one, long version. So if you like all this chit chatter and knowledge, hang in there. And if you don't, go to part one. I think it's done in 10 minutes, the whole reading. So she went inside herself and connected to spirit and said, there's no way I'm leaving my husband to these wolves, right? He's too innocent. I need to stay here to protect my sweetheart, right? Because they were really soulmates. So they started going to this 6 o'clock mass at the shrine of St. John Newman in Philadelphia every day for months, just praying for a miracle, right? She she said, I'm not going to listen to these three different doctors, especially that first one was so nasty. He had me for dead, right? She would say, and cold. Wasn't compassionate. He wasn't a compassionate guy. So anyway, so she was all upset. And then she just kept praying and praying for a miracle with my dad. And my mom, she could never get up early. She was a diva. She'd get up at noon. She ain't get up at 5 a.m., right? To go to the 6 o'clock mass kind of far away. Then she'd go out for breakfast. She goes, I just want to spend all my time with your dad. I'm not going to get the surgery. These are my last years in life. I want to be with your dad, and we're going to go to mass. And this went on for months, and she's not dying of cancer, even though three doctors said you're going to die of cancer by now. She went to a fourth doctor, and he said, he's the one that gave her hope. And he said, I've seen miracles happen. Not everything is science, right? There's other forces on this planet that can bring about things. And he goes, so he didn't find any cancer in her. It disappeared. And so about a year later, she ended up getting injections. He goes, just to be safe, you should get injections on chemo just in case it comes back, because it just disappeared. And here's the cool part. 20, I don't know, 15, 20 years later, she's in the elevator and she sees that original doctor that was really mean to her. He was really cold and said, no, you're going to die. And he looked like crazy. He's like looking at her and staring at her and looking shocked. And she's like, what's up, doctor? You think you've seen a ghost? And he goes, Mrs. So-and-so, is that you? And he says, yeah, it is me. And he goes, he goes, I'm just surprised to see you. You had me for dead. And he says, oh, you're an enigma. And then she goes, damn right, I'm an enigma and F you. And she walks out of the elevator. So this is that thing where people puts too much trust in the higher, what they perceive to be the higher force, but the highest force is within you. So some people are starting to like, some parts of the planet are ascending to that, and some people are stuck in that traditional role of wanting to hand their power over to some people, right? Okay, and that's the issue. So in the near future, we have an alliance that's just Two of Cups in reverse. Two of Cups is a partnership that's supposed to fulfill your heart, whether it's a business alliance or a friendship or dating. But in the reverse position, it's the opposite of that. So in the near future, people are feeling a bit of heartache, you know? And this is the near future outcome, right? And then we go to the key person involved in causing this lack of safety. We have the Knight of Cups in reverse. So the Knight of Cups, every tarot reader knows two short words for the Knight of Cups in reverse. It's called false knight, the false knight, right? This is the guy, like, if he were in the upright position, he'd be a sweet talker. He would woo you, romance you. He'd handsome, show up with the roses and come in on his white stallion and make a picnic for you and be all super romantic. But in the reverse position, which is what this is, in the card that represents the person, at the key issue of this reading, or the group of people, these are people that promise you one thing and they do not deliver. They're false. They say, we're coming to your rescue. We're coming to your rescue. Dun-dum, 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 dun-dum. And here we are. We're going to give you all this. Remember? We're going to give you all these cups to fulfill you. But it's all crap. Yeah, it's all crap. It's all fake, fake, fake. And guess what? You're not growing your stuff that you want to grow. You've invested and it ain't going anywhere, right? You're worried about it. And what really is the problem in the environment, this is the issue. This is the environment of taking care of others. You see the different generations, you know? And you see the 6 represents being responsible, and the cups represent wanting to give. And this is also a memory card, right? So this man is thinking back to a time when life was easier and innocent, when he was a young boy with his doggie. Now, this may be a new dog, right? This could be the son of this dog, right? This doggy went to heaven and he's reminiscing, because this is like the 6 of Cups as a card of nostalgia, right? So there's all this nostalgia for the good old days in the environment and wanting to go back to a more prosperous time that fulfills your heart and family getting along. So this is in the environment, but we've got, the reality is the false knight, not protecting you, promising to protect you and give you all the love and everything, and not protecting you, leaving you heartbroken, right? All of this is showing up. Now, as far as the safety issue that I'm worried about, I'm not seeing the big things in this reading that I am worried about. I'm seeing more things like people who invest the money and it's not there. They're worried about that. They've been lied to. I'm not seeing like a war type thing. And let me find my cards. Yeah, so the hopes and got the final outcome. I lost my hope and fear card. Where'd it go? Is it hiding? The fall? Oh, yeah, 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 yeah. Page of Swords, final outcome. Oh, okay. So anyway, I'm having a little brain to filter about the hopes and fears because my cards moved around. Spy in the camp is happening in the final with the Three of Cups. Nine of Swords is happening now. This is final outcome. Here and now. And I can't look up the video because I didn't upload it yet. Okay. Well, let me read the final outcome. So there's an issue with people. So I'm not seeing any major arcana. So that's a good sign. So what I'm seeing is disagreements with people who are normally friends. People who are normally friends and would be out celebrating together and toasting the cups. You see this group of goddessy type women would normally be in nature and celebrating and looking up at the stars and making wishes, but instead it's reversed. And I talked about in the reverse position that people will not get along. There'll be, some disagreements because people's core values are not in sync with each other. There's also in that position, people can isolate. They're not getting together. They're like, they've withdrawn. So they've withdrawn in the Three of Cups position to just feel like like uh, they don't want to go out. Like they're feeling like, oh, the outside is scary. The outside's scary to me. And then in some cases, with this reverse position, it can also mean that people can like self-medicate with alcohol. And I asked for like some clarifiers on this. And there's the classic spy in the camp card. So in the long-term outcome, in the final outcome, long term, is there's going to be shown that there was some kind of betrayal, like there's a spy within this organization, and that people are not going to make it to safety. They don't feel like they can cross over to the safe side. So there's no, now this is a bad sign, but it's not a major arcana. The only major arcana that we have in the main spread is the hierophant. And that's already in the recent past. Dealing with that issue with putting trust in the government when you really should put your trust in the divine and use your mind to ascend, use your mind and spirit. Don't like hand over your trust to somebody else, right? Yeah. So that's what's going on in this spread. And in the here and now, I had pulled the moon card. That's the uncovering of secrets, pulling the veil. And it's also scary with the moon card. There's a lot of fear with the moon card. And there's a feeling of needing to just shut down, like this is too much. My heart's been broken. I need to recover from all this heartache. Some people have lost their jobs. They're losing their income. They're losing their savings. They're losing their minds with the swords. They've lost their minds, right? Swords represent the mind and intellect. And the Four of Cups, again, these are two fours in with the disillusionment being uncovered. So the fours are like your stability, your foundation, your wall, your four walls of protection. And this person is just not happy with the choices that were presented to them and had to make a choice and is still not happy. That's what they're feeling. And we've got these two oh yeah, I remember this. This is the hopes and fears. I found the card. So we have this other thing in the here and now, what's this whole issue is about. The Queen of Cups in reverse, I have gotten this before when I read on this topic a lot, twice now. Queen of Cups in reverse. This person lost. That's why it's in reverse. Because this queen is very compassionate, grounded and empathetic, caring, has a heart for people. And instead, the King of Swords is in power. This represents not just one person, but various people, is the current question. There's various people in power, all lying, right? With the King of Swords in reverse. And again, hopes and fears as we have these people, is this nightmare ever going to end? This is the fear card, like this nightmare is never going to end. And we're at the end of a cycle with the number 9 and feeling alone and isolated with the number 9. So I hope you enjoyed this reading and that you got a better understanding of the cards. Now, I don't see anything threatening right now on our soil based on this reading, but I do see a lot of people, really worried about their safety in other ways, Oh, so I would love to hear from you what you think of all this, and if anything has happened in your thinking as far as, when you watched what's going on, how are you perceiving things? I think I would like to draw an oracle card based upon this tarot reading. And I'll do that in part 3 because not everybody wants to watch more about this, but some of you want that incredible deep dive and understanding, because I find that when I draw these oracles, it really helps you to understand the tarot better. You get the complete picture. You get multiple viewpoints. And I would love to know your viewpoint. I read each and every comment. I put a little heart emoji next to it to let you know. And please hit the like, share, button. It's all free. Subscribe for free. And if you want to be a member, I do lots of fun celebrity readings, and some of those are private. And we have chats and all kinds of fun perks if you want to check that out with the VIP membership. And and you could just do a membership for 1 month for less than $8. So it helps support the channel, helps keep me going. I so appreciate you being out there, all your wonderful comments. I love your kindness. I love meeting people from all over the world through here, especially in the chat, especially when we get to talk in the chat. It's so wonderful to talk to people thousands of miles away through the chat, and I really enjoy it. So take care. Bye.